This is what?
Because you can't just start doing it because I may have to stop
Sure.
and I have to go back.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
No worries. So
But-
this is what? December 29th, 2017.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here with Grandma talking about a bit of the family history on the Japanese
Well,
side.
just a rough history.
Rough history,
Yeah,
okay.
because I wouldn't have exact, because I don't have family.
Tree. Or,
No, family, what do you call? You know, they have in the city, family certificate.
records.
Record.
Yeah. So
That Kamai City holds.
Yeah.
I think they still have.
that's in northern Japan.
That's right.
How far north? That's not Kyoto.
No.
It's still Honshu.
That's Honshu. All right, Japan is like this,
Yep.
right? All right, I'm up here.
Yep.
Tokyo is here.
Way down there, yeah. Okay, so very north.
With a bullet train, it takes how many hours? Go to Hanamaki, then we had to change to another train. So I hope you're not really keep recording because I have to really go back and forth
That's fine.
because I'm not sure.
That's fine, yeah. So where do you want to start?
I think I start with what I know.
Yeah.
All right.
Are you going to start?
I don't know exact age,
Yep.
but under 20. They were born as
Now you're talking about your paternal or maternal grandparents, right?
what do you mean maternal?
Your mother's parents or your
Mother.
father's?
I'm
Yeah.
saying mothers.
This is
now,
only the
first.
mother's side. Okay, yeah.
Just the mother's side.
Sure.
Not the father's side.
Okay.
Okay. The father's side, I don't know too much
Oh, really? Why is that?
because my father adopted Sasaki. That's my mother's maiden name.
So actually,
You see, this is what in Japan do. You have only one daughter, let's say.
right.
They want to keep one daughter. They don't want to give away to Greg Gun. So what they do?
They adopt the
They
son-in-law.
adopt the son.
And he takes on that family's name.
That's right.
So the Sasaki name came from your mother's side.
Mother's side. You
Okay.
see?
So and you can think back to her parents, or can you think back further than that?
Grandparents.
My
grandparents.
which is your mother's mother and
Mother's
father.
mother and father.
Any further back than that?
I don't know.
Nothing, huh?
I think, I assume, because most people are like farmers in those days.
Yeah.
Hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were farmers. But my grandparents, mother's side, they came from, I think, Kashi village. It's called Kashi
Mm-hmm.
village. And they were teenagers.
This is your grandmother.
Why they came to Kamaishi? Because Kamaishi was the only big city around there.
Yeah.
They didn't want to take over farmer. They hate being
Farmer. Oh, they didn't want to be farmers.
They don't want to be farmer.
But they farmed, didn't they?
Because that was all in those days.
But they were trying to run away from farming, but they still ended up farming.
No. Farming is...
Rice
they
paddies.
were farming, helping, because they probably went to school until 4th or 5th grade.
Right.
Because I don't have a record or anything.
But you mentioned before they knew how to write, so that means
They knew how to write
Read and write.
and then read and write. So you gotta have some kind of education.
Yeah.
So if it was education, maybe held at the temple.
temple by
In
monks
those
or
days,
something. Huh?
Monks.
Yeah.
Monks in those days have more knowledge because they have to learn
They have to read the
to
scripts
read the scripts
and
stuff.
write.
And write. So they were one of the intellectuals
Yes.
in those days.
Same thing in India. Kind of your Brahmins are.
Yeah.
They educate.
Because they are more highly educated because they have to read, whatever. So anyway, but they didn't want it.
Now they being your grandmother's parents.
My grandmother, my parents, my mother's parents.
Parents. So those two left
me.
the farm to find something better.
That better life.
Yeah, okay.
Modern life.
More
in those
modern
days.
life. But you're still talking 1900s maybe.
1800.
Late 1800s.
Late 1800.
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And because my mother married my father when she was 24. My father was 26. In those days, it was late because most of them married, especially women, teenager, under
Sure.
20 under.
Right.
And if it's after 20, it's old maid.
Okay.
You see?
Yeah, in those days.
And the people didn't live longer either, see?
Right.
And, but anyway, so after they got married, they didn't want to be farmers. So they decided, go to Kamaishi. In those days, Kamaishi was the biggest town in that, area, okay? And, but anyway, so they came. But because he doesn't have high educations,
Right.
well, so he couldn't find any technical job because he doesn't have any experience. All right, so he found a job as a wood chopper.
Right.
All right, go to mountain because in those days wood they burn for heat
and cooking.
also cooking.
Yeah.
All right, so it was so precious.
It was a staple. Necessary. Need.
Yeah, necessity. So he got the job. He was lucky with a guy who owns rich guy, of course, and owns the 5, 6, or 7. This is how Japan's business is done. So he's the kind of owner who owns so many, boats, because Kamaishi is a city. We have bay, Kamaishi Bay,
On the ocean.
and on the Pacific Ocean, from Pacific Ocean. Then also it's like a U of M in Ann Arbor. It's all the town is all iron works, steel.
You mean
Like a
you mean like
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh? No, yeah.
Like a Pittsburgh, steel city.
Right.
So that maybe more than half
Right.
is it's a huge, and and besides they had a bay, so they can transport with a boat,
Sure.
ship.
So the guy had several ships to transport.
Okay, so he was a very wealthy guy, who owned so many fishing boat.
As well.
So how he makes a living is, then you hire so many people, then they kind of spread, they have so much, but he's a supplier,
The ships.
ship, a boat, fish boat, but he doesn't do any physical work.
No, he's just a businessman.
Yeah, businessman, and hire, so many
Crews.
people.
Captains and crews.
Yeah. And then they're gonna spread so much,
And he gets a percentage.
That's right. That was a business, and that he finally got the job with this, and
Your grandfather got a job in the fishing?
grandfather got the job as a wood chopper.
Okay, yeah, you'd mentioned.
Okay, wood chopper. All right, and so this the owner owns so many properties, including mountains, and so he sent my grandfather to every day he gets up at 4 and early, and he goes to mountain and chop wood, and about the lunchtime, after lunch or something, he come down the mountain, but he never came down the mountain with empty-handed, because this mountain was a productive mountain, produces like trees, like a walnut tree, chestnut tree, all kinds of trees. So they
Mushrooms,
can
maybe?
support themselves just from this.
From the agriculture.
Yeah. And so he came down.
And he would, sell those to in the market himself, or would he sell it
That's
to
no.
a store?
Okay, I'm going to explain this.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so but every time, because he doesn't have any money, right? And maybe a grandmother had a baby. They have 5 kids.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And my mother was this, in the middle. And 4 kids. And he was a Baba. And Baba, cut the hair. And this one was first one. So first one inherited actually everything. All right. Second one, he was working in Tokyo area
Mm-hmm.
at the time.
Third one is your mother,
Third one is my mother, and the fourth one is Baba.
Barbara. Yeah.
Yeah, my uncle, Baba.
Yep.
All right.
So they had 4 kids.
They have 4 kids. They had to feed them, right?
Right.
All right. So every time he's in the mountain, and after, I don't know when they
Chopping the wood.
but between the times, he always pick all these vegetables in the mountain. There are so many veggies you can eat,
Uh-huh.
and he knows, from a country himself.
He came from the farm.
Yeah, and so every day, our grandfather brought, carry
A basket.
wood in a basket in the back, his back. All right, but they were young; he could do it. Teenager, and brought some vegetables and crops from a mountain, and so they had the veggie more than enough food.
But didn't
Food.
somebody own that mountain, like his boss?
That's right.
But he
bought it.
no.
Raised
But I mean, he took the vegetables from his boss's
Oh
mountain.
yeah, but the boss, who cares?
All right, just clarifying.
Yeah. I mean, who cares? Because he couldn't care less. All he wants is the oil so that you can use for cooking and heating.
Right.
Okay. And anyway, so he brought this, and of course, the family couldn't eat the whole thing because there's so much.
Right.
So grandmother,
His wife.
his wife, she's a very intelligent person, by the way, and I don't know, her education is as the same as
His.
his, but he was able to read,
Sure.
So anyway, and the family couldn't eat. So, I mean, but you had this, throw it away.
Right.
It just so happened there was a market.
Yeah.
And it was in just a walking distance, couple blocks or 3 blocks walking. We had a huge rivers in the cities, in the middle of the city. There was from what do you call ocean, the river, big, wide, and large, and running through there. And it's under, on the bridge. There was always a market in the morning. Just like here, farmers
Floating market kind of thing?
Huh?
Floating? On boats
No,
or just on
no.
the bank?
It's like on the bridge.
Yeah, okay. On the bridge.
On
yeah.
the bridge.
Yeah.
And so they, so the
Yep,
people
they set up
still
a vendor
can go.
stall, yeah.
Yeah. All
Like
right.
you still see in India, right?
I don't know, so because
Well, when we were driving around, you'd see the fruit and vegetables.
Yeah. They're there, so
Yeah.
people stop and buy.
Right.
All right. That's how they start making money, really.
So did he...
Every day he brought everything fresh. So, and the mother, but she had the kids too.
Right.
And after she sent the kids out, and she comes to market and sell this.
So they didn't have a store or sold to store owners.
No.
She did her own stand.
So all profit goes
Yeah.
in.
Right.
Okay. And they are farmer, and they're not a stingy person, but they didn't know how to spend the money because they never had the money.
Right. So they started making some money.
That's right.
Right.
But they didn't know. They didn't know what. There was no bank either.
Right.
All right.
Right.
All right. So, and every time everything's a cash.
Right.
So she saved, and so what are you gonna do? Because they don't know how to spend, because they don't know how to play. Because he's a very honest,
He's a hardworking guy.
hard-working guy, and grandmother was the same way, and they didn't know what to do, so they put. This is the people years ago. They did it. They have a huge. What do you call it? They have a lid to huge. A vase like, huge. That's where they put all caches.
So
What
underground or something, or
Yeah, also, yeah.
almost
so
like a.
So they bury in the underground.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
even nowadays, years
they'll
ago,
find it.
They would find it.
Now, were the coins and money of that
Oh,
time?
yes.
Were they gold and silver?
Oh
or
yes, golden.
it was real gold.
Oh, schools are real gold.
Okay, not like government currency or something. Okay.
No,
So there-
it's a a gold, it's like this.
Yes.
Maybe this is $10
Right.
gold,
Right.
Okay. So, but they have started, of course, accumulating over the years.
Right.
Right. By the time my mother graduated, she went to girls' school. I went to same school too. Girls.
Your mother.
My mother.
So she was sending her 4 kids to school, your grandmother.
Yeah. 4 kids. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. But in those days, people don't kidnap or anything.
Right, no, there's nothing.
I mean, there's nothing like that. And, all right, so by the time, kids come home, she's done with the market.
Right.
So she's home
Right.
for kids. All right, so everything went fine for so long. Well, then one day, and his boss, who owned this business, boat, and they had a son, but the son who was supposed to inherit
The business, yeah.
business.
And the estate.
But what happened, the son, playboy, okay?
Okay, yeah.
All right, so he spent all the family's money.
Fortunes.
Yes, fortune. And so they went really bankrupt.
So he had to sell his lands.
So
and,
he had to sell that. But my grandfather then, he already with him so many years.
Right.
So he knows that mountain is a good mountain, productive mountain.
Right.
Produces a lot of stuff. Bamboo forest, and bamboo shoots in the spring.
Yep.
And so many other things. And so they had already stashed enough money to buy with cash the mountains and all the areas, but he wanted a mountain. So they were smart. And everything was blossoming in those days, a couple hundred years ago.
Yeah.
Because, from a feudal state and country into Western type of,
Right.
centralized.
Yeah, the Reformation, right?
Yeah.
Meiji Reformation or something?
Meiji. So they were in the right time. Everything they
Yeah, the economy opened up.
opened up. That's what no matter what you start doing, you start flourishing, All right. But of course, they had a depression came,
Yep.
remember, in the 30s,
Yeah.
29 or something. But it doesn't bother them because they already have a cash and everything.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a banking because they don't trust the bank.
So they just had cash.
They had a cash. So everything they deal with the cash. And but what really, but he made the money to support the family, but grandmother who really made
The big money.
big money because of sell this no wholesale.
Wholesaler, no intermediate, no one in between,
medium,
no middleman, no nothing.
No middleman.
Pure profit.
That's right.
And no harvesting cost. No cost.
No.
Right? Because he
That's
was
right.
using
No labor
he was
involved.
using his boss's land. It was really his boss's assets
That's
that he
right.
was selling.
But he's an honest guy.
Yeah.
He would, because, and the boss never bothered because they had lots of money. He couldn't.
Well, until he lost it all.
Yeah, he was really happy having him working for him because he could trust him.
Right.
Yeah, well, he didn't know he was maybe because it's okay because he was going to feed the family first.
Yeah.
Well, then whatever, leftovers, then she took a market. And pretty soon she knows how much you want to save. And, feed the family, how much to sell.
Right.
All right. And that's how, so they start everything.
So it had to be uncomfortable when his boss went bankrupt and had to sell his properties, and then your grandfather had money to buy.
That's right.
That had to be a bit
Everything
embarrassing.
is done with the cash.
But that had to be
Yeah, but by that time, he was gone. Father was gone.
it was the son.
Son.
It was the son that
The
was
son.
selling for his lifestyle.
That's right. That was it. That just like my nephew, Akira's second son,
Yeah,
who likes to live
large.
large.
He liquidated the estate
That's right.
to live big.
That's right.
What about his mother? Did she live to see all that?
I don't know about
Yeah.
the mother. And but anyway, that's what I heard.
Okay.
And
So they had lots of money. They had the mountains now, and they ran their business,
okay,
right?
You know what happened? So mountains. So, but he paid with the cash. But he's still producing money,
Right.
Because he has his own mountain,
Right.
So
Well, did he harvest more and bring more down and hire people to bring more down?
no. See, they're not really that. It's not. You're thinking it was this. This time.
Yes.
Okay, they were saying that you think it was about 200 years ago, even the state.
Yeah.
I mean, it's different. People's mentality is different. They probably went for, because they didn't know what the heck a bank is, because they don't know, so they never use it. They put it in a jar, so to speak, and they dig real deep ground. Even now, they find, when people,
Yeah.
they ground to build a building or
They'll
something.
find a stash
they
of
find
cash.
some stuff of cash.
What
Gold.
What do they do with it?
Oh, you have to report.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's the same as here.
The government takes it.
Yeah, that's the government takes. Well, anyway, and that's how it started. And so it's an interesting thing is no matter what happened, everything I think it looked like it's really God set the rail. So he just got on the rail train and just ride it and start making money. That's what it.
But he worked hard.
Oh, he worked hard too, but he died in 64, 63. I was 12 year old, 11 year old, something like that, 5th or 6th grade. I can't remember which.
Now, were these the grandparents that? No, they were gone then. You went somewhere during the war, at the end of the war, no?
Well, I went to what?
To live outside of Tokyo.
Oh, because we had to evacuate town because of the lot of bombing.
But where was that?
That was a village. That's now it have to go change to my father's.
Oh, that's your father's side. Okay.
Father's side.
Okay, so.
So I'm not gonna.
No, don't do that.
I don't want to do that. All right. So anyway, so he said what he's gonna do, but he realized, the thunderstorm and everything, and knock a tree down.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So then I think he had a helper. Lay down, those. You gotta do something about the trees because it's laying over there. You can't leave it. Okay. So what he did? So he hired somebody, and then cut in the certain things. So now he can sell everything. From mountain veggie to tree
To timber.
Timber. All right. Well, then you can do so much, but in order to do that, and it's everything. I don't know, but anyway, and he decided to have a lumber mill.
He made dimensional lumber. He cut it into planks and
cut
boards
it so
and
that you can sell, right?
Yeah.
All right. So he did that. That went good too, because everything was flourishing.
Yes, everything's being built.
And every time he touched everything, it
Turned to gold.
turned to gold. So it's a Midas.
Yeah, he had the Midas touch.
Midas touch, and so. And the bamboo, he had a beautiful, gorgeous bamboos. Bamboo, 8 inches maybe.
Yeah,
The
forests.
bottom, huge. They have bamboo, but this too, all right. And those bamboo you can sell, and he hired somebody to make stuff and sell. And it sold too. Everything he touched turned to gold. And so he did that. So what are you going to do? So many lumbers. It's still a lot of lumbers. Yeah, and so he started buying properties.
Oh, jeez.
And start to build your own unit, like a condominium.
Right.
7
Apartments. Apartments or like condominiums?
No, we call it Nagaya. Nagaya means it's like a condominium.
Okay.
I think America probably copied from this. So it's more under income people live in. It's not a big independent house.
Mm-hmm.
So the all unit is maybe 5 or 6, 7, whatever. So no. First they built their own house, big house, and
His own lumber and everything. His own lumber.
His own lumber, and he made sure they have so many, maybe half acre or quarter acre for family vegetable.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so you don't have to go unless you buy fish or meat or something. I mean, money just built because they don't know how to spend. And so they start doing that. And after that,
They rented
okay,
those units?
first he built. Finally, he thought that he could afford to have a big house.
This already was a big house.
It was a big house.
But now he's going to build a really big house?
No, not, because before I don't know they live in a hut or a little place. I'm sure they have to live because the kids are there,
Right.
And but how big of a house, I don't have any record. And even my mother, I don't think.
You only know the bigger house.
Yeah, I only know big house, and it was I have to show you. I can't write it down because I know exactly how it laid out.
Right.
And then after that, okay, kids start going, and they were able to send my mother to girls'
School.
okay? And she was one of a few who could have shoes, not Japanese, we call geta.
Yeah.
Most of the time people wear geta with maybe, a red, I don't have picture, but a thing. And it was kind of, it's getting better. I mean, living situation wasn't getting much better because they were able to send my mother to a girls' school. Well, that's how it started. Okay, he started to build house, and it's more lumber is coming. So he bought more property, and the property was cheap at the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see, so it was just like a God, handed to him, and then so he started building,
The condos.
house, a condos sort of, but it's not like a
Yeah.
U.S. condo.
But he rented those?
Of course.
Yeah.
So he rented. So the renter is like a fisherman, carpenter,
Right.
plumber,
Right.
this. So whenever they need help,
They're right there.
Right there. So, I mean, but it was, he probably thought it was, whenever necessary, and he just did it, and everything turned gold. That's what happened. And so, okay, so they all, if something happens, like somebody died, so they really worship because he's a boss for the property, because they pay rent everywhere, so you get the more income.
Right.
Yeah?
Cash was coming.
Cash. All right. And he still has going to mountain, have somebody to do lumbering, and the carpenter, somebody to build the house. And so anyway, got the bigger and bigger and bigger. And now even city office and a post office and the biggest hospital in Kamai City, I think they rent property. Because in Japan, they don't sell sometimes. They don't always sell. They rent it. So the hospital maybe pays so much.
Right.
Post office
Right.
and the city office.
So those are his properties that those sit?
That's his property. They sell. So how much money you think it's coming?
To this day still or not?
No, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
Because this is third generation. You see, my grandparents.
Right.
So it's just my uncle's family is third generation. So every time, what happened is recent happens is whenever they are they send the kids to all universities.
Right.
And even the foreign universities. Every time then the weddings, give big weddings, then they sell property.
Same thing as his old boss, kind of, but not for
But
Playboy.
not the big way.
Not for a Playboy lifestyle.
That's right.
Yeah.
No. But so I think when we got together, my cousin, a few years back when I was in Japan, we got together. They think maybe they have 1/3 of what the original one.
Really, that's what's left.
That's what.
Still, it was pretty large.
Oh yeah, but this is why my cousins, they have, my uncle's children, my mother's brothers' children.
The barber?
We were, no, but we were kids. When they were kids, we were so close with my mother's folks.
Yes.
Because she was only daughter.
Ah,
So
all four, she was only the daughter.
That's why they didn't want to give her away to him. They adopted him.
Yeah.
We do in Japan.
Right.
This kind of thing. Okay. And, that's how it grew.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, in the between time, there was war and everything. And,
But they were relatively insulated, being up in the north there.
yeah, and even now, I'm sure, but the people's, the building is getting changed too. See, their house is like years ago.
Yeah, the typical Japanese.
Yeah, Japanese style. And here is all walking alley.
Mm-hmm.
And the kitchen was huge, maybe this room, just the kitchen.
Right.
And it's all concrete, and the kitchen was this side. But the house layout is like this. Let's say house is this. This is entrance. Oh no, it's a family room. Family room, maybe twice as big room here. And they have, we call it irori. This is informal family room. These are all kitchen. And they had a huge kitchen. And this was concrete.
Mm-hmm.
And there was wood, and a concrete.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have things, you have to, miso soup and rice cooking. They always have kamado, so cooking, Then this is a family room, kitchen, and when we eat in the inside, not in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Just cooking only, okay?
Right.
And so we eat. When we get together, we have the big table because a lot of kids. They had 4 kids too. My mother had 7 kids.
Mm-hmm.
So when we visit, they put the big long table, like this. So we all sit here, kids.
So you didn't sit on a tatami. You sat at a table.
No, it was not the tatami, but wood, wood floor. Mm-hmm. This was all wood floor.
So you were sitting on the floor, but the table legs were very small.
Oh yeah, because we sit. Right. So this is a family room, but when you out the family room, and a grandfather and a grandmother sit by themselves. They have an individual serving tray. Because we respect the elders, okay? So all kids, a family, all sits around here. And here's the grandparents sit like this. And we bring this individual serving
tray to them. Like a bento box, maybe?
Yeah. No bento. I mean, the regular meal.
Yeah, okay.
Not the bento.
Uh-huh.
And here is, we're going to burn wood. We have all kinds of wood because we have all the mountains. And then, we go to another room. It was like this. And another room like this. And these were...
Hallway or porch?
I still can remember, you know. Then they have another room here. All wood, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And these are tatamis.
Okay.
Yeah, these are tatamis. Then their bedroom, their room was my uncles and family. They lived this. They took this room.
Mm-hmm.
My grandparents took this room. This is because this is more like
Guest?
a guest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then they also have a big shrine. You can tell, you know, their wealthiness from a size of
Shrine.
shrine. They have a size, about this wide.
Not
The
as big as
most
the
family
picture.
nowadays, it may be, you know, this size.
Yep.
Yeah, and because every family have a, you know, Buddha. Somebody died or something.
Right.
Then have ashes.
Mm-hmm.
So they give, you know, the ashes to say you or me. Then we have
A shrine.
shrine. So every house, most in Japanese house, they have a shrine. They have, you know, where they keep this stuff. And every time we visit, we go to this and we put something, you know, in there. Then we pray.
Yep.
And so this was a kind of this. So whenever they have party, let's say 100 people,
Mm-hmm.
they take all this off.
The sliding.
Sliding thing. That's why they have sliding. It's very convenient. If you need, let's see, my cousin went for. He died, but it's a famous. What do you call this? During the wartime, it's an air pilot, but
Oh, kamikaze.
kamikaze. He was one
So
of them.
your cousin
My cousin.
was a kamikaze.
Oh yeah, he was
And
16.
everyone thought he had died in the war, right?
Because we couldn't find him.
Right.
The government don't have a record.
Right.
It's everything burned down.
But didn't he show up one day?
No. 17 years. My uncle, father, went Tokyo to find out, to go to government buildings after, try to find it. They couldn't. So,
I do remember one cousin coming home and the family being shocked to see him. Where was...
my cousins?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's our first son who supposed to take over family wealth too,
Same family.
No, but he didn't join the army. He didn't join the, this, because they were really, government needed the young guy, 15, 16, 17, not the 15, 16, 17, up. And they don't want to under 20.
Right.
But when they are really, what do you call? This was a volunteer thing, Yeah, but they had a big advertisement, joined in this. But, it means also they knew they won't come back.
Right.
Because, they meant to die because they already knew Japan don't have enough oil because they shut down. They couldn't get from Asia.
Right.
Before they could get it, not anymore. And so that's how really the war ended, because the government...
It just couldn't supply itself anymore.
They couldn't. So that's why, this is why, the beginning, they did this attack, Hawaii, right, in Hawaii,
Mm-hmm.
because Minister of Navy, okay, he was in the United States, he speaks English. And he spoke English, and he was working for the attaché, Navy attaché at the Washington, D.C., in a Japanese embassy. And he was against the war. He said, no way. Japan is a little country. And because he knows the power what the U.S. has.
What it could have. It wasn't a military country then. But it tooled up. It tooled
that's
up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do you know what? The sleeping lion.
Yes, sleeping giant.
Sleeping giant.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
You will
said,
awaken a
"There's no
sleeping
way.
giant. Yeah.
The only way maybe we can start
is a
the
decisive, decisive victory.
That's how he is the one because he was against the war from the very beginning. He said it's a stupid and so, but see, army was so strong at the time.
Anyway,
Anyway, then that's their room. Whenever we visit, we sleep in with grandparents.
so that's your favorite.
Yeah. And here was my grandmother's room. In those days, everything is handmade. And so silk clothes, silk yarn. She, what do you call? She bought...
Made it into fabrics?
Yeah. She bought
A loom.
yeah, cocoon.
Oh, the silkworm.
Silkworm. It's because when they
She
die...
grew her own silk.
No, she buys. But then, she buys as a little egg. So that they hatch after that. But the hatch means that they die. Because they're going to surround with your own yarn.
Right.
And so you get suffocated, the bird dies. That's a fate for
The silkworm.
silkworm. And so this was, her. And there was another room, but it was so dark, it was kind of spooky, we say that we never went to this darker room. But over here in outside, because they have so many acres, you see, so they built a big fireproof building. We do, most wealthy people, they want to keep some important things, or jewelry, whatever. And so they built a big, because I can't show you a picture because I don't have any.
Right.
And they had a well inside and outside.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a big, it's, why? Because fire 3 feet thick. So the fire never...
Penetrated.
Yeah. So, because we used to do hide and seek all the time, in the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's spooky in a way, and cool, because
3 foot thick walls.
3 foot walls. And so they can, that's why, but during the wartime, they got bombed so many times because this is too obvious.
It looks like a military fortification.
So I could see, the gunman, because they fly so low, and they're shooting like this, and we could see it.
Even up there in the northern mountains.
Yeah, because they produce, that's the best iron we produce.
Oh, it was an iron city.
Iron City. It's like a U.S.
It was like Pittsburgh.
That's right.
More like Pittsburgh.
It's Pittsburgh.
Yeah, okay.
And so that's how it is. Everything he touched, it turned to gold.
Until it got bombed.
Well, got bombed, but when we didn't have any food, they already had sugar kept in this, like a money jar, sugar jar.
They had
they hid it.
Yeah, they had, what do you want to say? They had stores.
It's a store underground.
Yeah.
Because they had a place, he can do that.
Was that planning because of the war, or would he have done that anyway?
That was during the wartime because they started, doing bombing,
Yeah, he knew that it would be...
It's going to be, this going to happen.
Hard to get food. And
someday it's going to be end, they know. And then maybe everything, we
will be
don't have.
Very difficult to get.
Yeah. And so the sugars and salt, whatever they thought. So they had their own wisdom, they knew.
Foresight.
Someday it's going to end. Well, then it's going to be disaster. Okay, so it was. And so they had already sugar and, salt. They put in this.
Big pots.
Mm-hmm. And, but they got bombed. They really got badly bombed because it's a white building, it's all white.
Easy to see.
That's right. And not much the windows.
Yeah. Looks like a military base
That's right. So that's what the big house
Yep.
next to it.
with 3 feet thick walls.
That's
It
right.
looks like a
it looks
military compound.
That's right.
Yeah.
3 feet. And even now, but not many people, because in Japan we don't have enough land anymore.
Right.
So they cannot build. They still have, farm side. You see all the fields and everything, but government and as official buildings, in the big cities, and they are so crowded. That's why Tokyo is so expensive.
Yeah.
You know how much this cost? Maybe
Yeah, it's expensive.
yeah, the 6x6, square. That's how they count. It's not acre or.
I know. In India, it's 10 feet by 10 feet.
Oh, because I think
They call that square 1 square.
We are 1 square. That's what we call. Oh, same thing. This 1 square is $1 million, maybe million yen.
Yeah.
In like a Ginza, Tokyo.
Right.
Oh yeah, you can buy.
Right.
And
All right. So that's your grandparents on your mother's
that's
side.
okay.
So
yeah.
what about then? Do you move down to your mother's generation then? Her 3 brothers?
Yeah, but because there's the one I have most.
The grandparents.
Yeah, grandparents. I remember.
Well, what
most.
do you know the names of the 3 other? Like your mother's name was what?
Sua, Sasaki.
And then the other 3 boys.
My father's side is a Hayashizaki.
That's his family's name.
Yes.
But he changed it to Sasaki.
To Sasaki because they adopted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the 3 other brothers of your mother.
Oh, the first one he inherited. He was working. He was, I guess, smartest in
But
the
what's his
family.
name?
I don't remember.
Ah.
I don't remember I remember my grandparents, Sasaki Shiro. That's my grandparent.
Father. Shiro. Shiro Sasaki.
Shiro Sasaki.
And the grandmother's name?
Tome
Tomei.
Sasaki.
But you don't remember the first son. Okay.
And the second son.
No?
No.
But your mother
who's my mother?
and then the youngest. No?
Because I always go to the uncle,
Uncle, yeah.
I never remember. So, but that's why I have to go to city office
Yeah.
if I do that.
Yeah.
Accurately.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. But that's how it was.
Yeah.
And they were making money from a mountain,
Yeah.
and, from...
So your mother was from a
And
well-to-do family, but she ended up having 7 kids, and she did not have an easy life.
No, she didn't have easy life, that's for sure. Yeah, she never had.
As a child, though, she had a kind of a privileged life.
Oh, of course. But, that's the people. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, because my father was a very handsome guy.
Well, let me. How was the marriage? How did it come to be? Was it a
I don't
was it
think
a arrangement or was it a?
It's arrangement.
It was an arrangement.
Oh yeah, in those days.
And
My time too.
why was he viewed as a good fit for your mother? Was he a prominent military family, a prominent business family? Usually it's about equal levels, isn't it?
Yes, that's how when they select was always some middle people,
Uh-huh.
who brings all the songs.
Oh, yeah, the matchmaker.
Matchmaker, yeah. We have a lot of matchmakers, so they bring that such. Now, my father's side is all good looking.
Yeah. Okay.
My mother's side,
Not so much.
average.
I remember I remember my grandmother, your mother. She was short and stocky, and she didn't look like she came from a beautiful family of any kind.
No, she doesn't.
Very average.
Yeah, very average. And another thing is that I think if she had a powder, to put on her face, I think it lasts her whole life.
Oh, really?
One.
She never wore any makeup.
None.
Okay.
Just a cream. And never. Well, now I don't wear makeup either.
Oh, you have lipstick on.
Yeah, I put. You know why? Because I get.
Yeah, you get dry lips.
Dry
Huh?
lips
Yeah.
real quick, and so I had to put something. But anyway, so that's my.
That's your grandparents.
Yeah, grandparents. My grandparents died. I think he was about 60 something. And
And did he die? When you were about 12?
yeah, 11, 12.
11? So let's say 31, 41, 42, 43, 1943? Be right around there.
Somewhere there, I guess.
So then if he was 67 and you back up 43 years, he was born in 43?
Yeah, 18 something, late
24, 20.
I think.
Yeah, so it'd be 1876.
And I don't know exact the age either. That's why I have to go to, if I'm going to
Yeah,
get it.
but you're generally, he was in his late 60s.
He was, no, I think he died in 63, 4. I was 12 years old, or 12 or 11.
Yeah, but then if he was 63, let's say 62, and you were 12, so that was 1943.
Yeah, probably.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So 62 back from 43, he's into the he was born
18 something.
Yeah, 1880s.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
And mother's, okay, but because, our Sasaki is, mother's side, so we are more closer we live closer to, at the time, my father was the head of security division. The huge.
Who was? I'm sorry.
My father.
Your father.
My father.
Yeah.
I was
and what was his name?
Hikokichi.
Hikokichi.
And my grandfather, Hayashizaki Hikoshichi. That's grandfather's name. And Hayashizaki Tome. Now wait a minute.
No, that's your mother's side.
My mother's side.
On your father's side, you don't remember the grandmother's.
She was a quiet person.
Yeah.
I remember, and she every time the harvest is finished, but they are not the poor farmer. You know? I mean, they have a 4 or 5. I couldn't believe when I visited one thing 7, 8 years ago when Akira was still alive.
Visited who?
Visited my father's side.
Father's side. Okay.
So what we do is we pay respect to deceased.
Yeah.
So we go to cemetery first and put the flowers and before even go and visit them.
Yeah.
And so that's a custom.
That's customary. Yeah.
Customary. And we went there. Yeah. And what I was going to say was, okay, farmer, but it's not the poor farmer.
Now you're switching to your father's parents.
Yeah,
now.
father. I'm switching now.
Yeah.
Okay, because in those days, and of course the farmer was, they were not poor farmer.
It's a small country.
Yeah.
But people have to be fed, so I'm sure food was pricey, and farmers did well.
But in the village, they are the top, because when they make they try to find a kind of equivalent in the wealth.
So your father's side was well-to-do farmers.
Yeah.
And they had hired people working the farm.
No, you know what it is in Japan? This is pretty typical. They help. So, village, hundreds, 300, 400, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They all come and help. And even, when they put
the rice
thing, like this, springtime, that's the busiest time. And they all get together. So they do same thing to other people. Okay, we finished your house.
We go to the next house.
Go to the next house.
So is there some sharing that happens afterwards? I mean, how does that work?
Because they all help.
Yeah.
So no, that's equal, 0.
I see. Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's
so
not
your father's family helped other farmers' families.
That's right.
It just went in a big circle.
Same thing.
Okay.
That's the way it is. And that was good, I think, because there was no fight or anything, because everyone
had their crops. Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody has that. And but they were the biggest.
They were the biggest.
Biggest in the village. Okay. So that's how,
So this was arranged.
Yeah, this was arranged.
Now, when that arrangement happens, does the family estate combine?
Oh.
Is there a financial aspect that occurs?
Financial thing, it's the same thing. Okay, father's side, my father was my aunt and my father, and they had 5 kids.
Your father. Well, no.
Father side.
The grandfather.
Grandfather, my
Had 5.
grandfather, they had 5 kids, and 1 girl.
Do you know any of their names? So you told me your father's name.
Yeah.
Was he the youngest, or where was he?
My father was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think he was.
In the middle?
Yeah, here.
Almost the last.
Yeah, almost. And because he
So we know his name. What about the first? No? Second one?
Hayashizaki. I don't know. But my aunt, who is the only girl.
The only girl?
Oh, girl, I know Sasaki. She's a Sasaki.
Yeah, but she is.
I met her when I went there. And when she took me to a nice Japanese restaurant. And she said, I guess she goes there often, you know. And they said that she said, you see, remember I told you I have a cousin who lives in the United States.
This is her.
Yeah, that was her.
Well, what was her name?
Ayako.
Ayako.
Yeah, I remember her. She's a big girl, big tall. And I am just smallest in everybody.
That's all right.
Among
I know, me too.
I'm smallest always.
So you don't remember who the one younger than your father is?
Yeah, father had only a girl. 1 girl in the father's side, the
Yeah.
mother's side.
This is your grandfather.
Yeah.
Yeah, but your father, my grandfather,
Yeah, okay.
he was the 4th of 5.
4th.
So do you know the 5th one?
Kimpachi.
That's his name?
Kimpachi.
So you know one of those, Kimpachi?
Kimpachi. Hayashizaki Kimpachi. But my father, not why I remember, because my father really,
Was close?
you know why? Because I didn't know that until late. My father, when they were baby, okay, my father, when he was 2 or 3 years old,
Yeah,
and the baby, this Kimpachi,
yeah.
baby was so many months old.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the parents was around there, but, away from house.
Farming. I mean, they're doing their
Farming,
work.
Anyway, they were not there.
So he had to
Somebody
watch
was,
him?
Yeah, but these
No.
kids,
Yeah.
the 5 kids are there, so they thought probably somebody gonna take care of the baby
Yeah.
or look after baby.
No one did.
And then no one did.
Oh, no.
Of course, the kids. And so the baby was laying on a big hibachi thing, like this big. They burned the wood
On the stove?
stove, and near there they just had a baby in
A crib?
a crib or some kind,
Uh-huh.
and there was a baby, and the kids are playing around there.
Right.
Okay, what happened is, I think they got so excited. My father stepped on the baby
No.
head, and that's what I heard. And so baby stopped crying like an animal sound, and like, ah!
Right.
Animal. Okay.
Yeah.
And parents heard, so the mother rushed in, and baby was like half dead. The eyes were white.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of look funny.
Yeah.
So they, of course, doctors, but in the years ago, that time,
It's not much.
Not much really. So the baby had lived.
It did.
Oh, he did, but it was a little slow.
Okay.
And my father always felt, I heard
That he was responsible?
He was responsible for this. Yeah, because kids are playing, and the baby's head is what? This
Small,
big?
small.
And so stepped on.
And 1 month old?
Few months old.
Yeah, it's
and
still
I
soft.
don't know,
It's still not, it's very soft. Yeah.
That's right. And so he stepped on, and the baby, so mother heard, of course. And so they ran in, but it was too late.
So he lived a full life.
So mother helped him in a way.
The youngest.
Youngest, because he couldn't even, I don't know, he went to school or not. But anyway, he feels responsible, always. so he took care of
Right.
of
And then your father, as he grew up, he went into the military.
yeah, and he's the only one too. In those days, it was a high education, and so my father writes very well and very nicely, real pretty. And he would, I have a picture. Look, a picture, photograph, his graduation, somewhere here.
Yeah.
I couldn't find it.
Right.
I couldn't find it, but when I find it, of course, I take it out and
Yeah.
leave it where I can see.
Okay.
But then right now, the mother side wealth was my cousin told me. I said maybe 1/3, okay, but they still have. And then now the mountain, it's a city, is taking care of it because
Is it developed or is it just a... Just,
no.
No.
Oh, another thing I wanted to show is my grandfather donated his
This is your
partial
maternal grandfather. Your mother's... this is your grandfather on your mother's side.
mother side.
Yeah.
So grandfather, mother side. And so what I was going to say to this father's father, my my grandfather, father side, and my mother side, and how it's a difference, But I enjoyed both.
Mm-hmm.
And he donated his partial, so they can build high school, middle school. That still no, because I saw it.
Mm-hmm.
I went to see it. Middle school, and they have an Olympic size pool and a gym, big modern building, and it's beautiful because you can see over the bay.
Oh, because it's
Very
up on the
pretty.
mountain, right?
It's on the mountain, but you have to go this way, and entrances go this way,
Mm-hmm.
this way. So they planted cherry tree.
In
So
his
they
memory?
say
Or just nothing to do with him?
nothing to do with
They
it.
wanted to put a statue or something, didn't they?
Statue or
But he
something,
refused.
He refused.
He refused that.
He doesn't like that. He
Right.
wants to stay
Anonymous.
anonymous. And, but I can't. What I'm so hoping, because I don't have his picture. They don't have it either.
They don't.
Family, because they got the bombed
Bombed.
3-4 times.
I was going to ask, was there any pictures then
No,
left?
none. So, but I'm thinking is because when he died, we had a big funeral.
The whole city, whole town, village came, right? Or big,
Not the whole town village, but in areas, the people know who
Yeah.
they are.
right.
And because, he owned the
Yeah.
land. And there were like a funeral procession, so to speak. So, like a immediate family, they follow the coffin,
Right.
and same as here. And people would come out, so they all lined up on a street
Streets.
because it was big funeral procession. And I think if I contact, I don't know if, because they have their own newspaper,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't know if they still have, because they keep record.
Right.
Okay, so I'd like to see if they still, I can find.
What,
Maybe
find
somebody
what,
took-
articles or photographs or what?
Yeah, article or photographs or whatever, because it was a big funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to put the tent outside because we couldn't get in the building.
Right.
There are so many because he tribute for education, right?
Right. He was an advocate for
Oh,
education.
And so the city officials to state
Anyone who was anyone came, right?
Yeah, it came. So it came to, I'm guessing now, 500 to 700 people.
You were there.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
Because I have to read. It's always me. They put me in the position to represent the family because I'm the first child.
In what way? What does that mean? What is that
So I
responsibility?
have to read all this, you tell what my grandfather did.
You read this.
My father maybe made the story,
Okay.
but I have to read. But always push me. I did everything.
So in front of the crowd, you had to give the big speech.
That's right. Microphone in front of microphone.
I didn't know this.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know this.
I did everything. Wedding too.
Yeah?
Oh yeah. Okay. My cousin, my father's side.
Yeah.
My cousin, and my father's brother's son
Yeah.
got married. All right. So, but when we receive, you should see their house too. It's in the Japanese standard. It's a big house.
On your father's side.
Father's side.
So they were wealthy farmer.
They're not from poor
Yeah.
people. My grandparents who came to Kamaishi, where I was born, and they didn't have anything. They
Right.
didn't have money because
But
they
they
left.
become very wealthy.
So became very wealthy. And the father's side was already more than, middle,
Yeah.
bigger. All right. And so because he went to military school, it was under like West Point.
Yeah.
Here. All right. But it belongs to, because of cabaret, because he loves horse. He was a
Cavalry.
Cavalry. All right. I have picture there.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. All right. And because they don't have tuition. Because if you want to become, America same way. You know that?
What?
If you want to go West Point, you have no tuitions.
Yeah, but you have to get a lot of sponsorship to do this.
Oh yes, but you don't pay fees.
I don't.
No,
If you're accepted,
that's right.
taxpayer pays.
Well, I know.
Right.
You go bathroom?
No, I'm going to get the picture.
Oh, I gave it to you. I think you have.
Oh, this one here.
Yeah. Because my father was only, because, town I came from at the time was 100,000. So it's a middle class.
So this is your dad, the cavalry guy.
Right. It's my father. He was practicing about 6:30 in the morning, I heard.
Ah.
And he was, listen, I was baby.
So he was married with children even when he was in the military.
Oh, what do you mean?
He wasn't out of the military before getting married.
When he was married, yeah, he just probably graduated or because he was 24, right?
So then did he serve?
Oh, but he never served in the war, battle.
Nothing.
No, but he was always in the more administrative section.
All right, but he was in the military.
Oh, yeah. And of course a lot of girls who, like good looking. He was the best looking, among, because they're all good looking. My aunt too. But see, they don't farmer, so they don't
Take
put the
care,
makeup, take
yeah.
care of themselves. But she had a high nose, and and now she put the makeup, very pretty, but never put the makeup. And by the way, when you go to Japan, after after Tokyo, you go up north.
Yeah.
Side, not many people put the makeup. Mostly hardly, but skin is very fine. They look pretty.
The further north you go.
Further north.
Even into Hokkaido then?
Hokkaido, I don't know because it was under the government from a feudal period to modern stage because they wanted to be an industrial country because they wanted to advance,
right.
And so they had a lot of foreigners, German, especially machine mechanics, German. And they knew the military they had from France and England. And with those things, they paid a real high salary, I heard, in those days, to have what do you call, instructor
Foreign
or
instructors?
foreign instructors, high wage. So well, anyway, that's how it was, and because they wanted to hurry up to catch up all these modern technology stuff, because we were so back out, until then. So
So making that move in technology put you way ahead of all the other Asian countries,
right.
because
they
were.
said that's the only way.
Yeah.
And so they want to be the same. It's this like a North Korea, except that they don't shoot
Missiles.
missiles and stuff. They don't. But they wanted to be, and they did.
It was an empire.
Oh yeah, and it's such a little country.
Yeah.
You see.
So, let's see. So your father, one sister and 3 brothers, or 3 brothers?
1, 2, 3, 4, because 5 kids and
Right.
1 girl. So
Yep. So 3 brothers, 1 sister to him.
3,
4 brothers total.
4 brothers.
Yeah.
4 brothers.
But he had 3 other
and
brothers.
he was a little slow because of that. I told you. And
Now, are they all alive?
no.
Your father's not alive.
When I went there, how long ago? 10 years ago or so. I went to their grave. Yeah.
Which ones?
I couldn't.
All-
My father's side.
Okay.
Yeah. And both, but my father's side, because Akira drove.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I paid the gas, because gas is expensive in
Right.
Japan, But he drove me all around. How long have you been gone? We gone? I can't remember. Maybe a week or something. He took week off.
Well, he was retired, no?
He was retired, but he didn't live to be. He died in '68.
Yeah, but he was working at the time when he had to take some time off? Well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's not important, but he had a time, so I said I pay for gas, and so that's how we.
So
went.
are there any living then of your
because
father?
at the time I thought maybe this is the last time I might see them,
Mm.
Because I don't come often, and
So, you only saw the sister,
sister who?
your father's sister.
Oh yeah.
Anyone else of his brothers
Oh yeah, but I'm more
close to the sister?
I have to tell you this: my father's side, grandpa. I could, because most farmers, they crops in the fall.
Right.
All right. So from fall to April, they
It's
have
quiet.
quiet. So that's when his, folk come and visit us.
Oh.
His side,
They would come to the city?
come to city and stay with us months, 2 months.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Now, did your grandparents on your mother's
my
side
mother's side is we live closer. So we
So they didn't come and stay with you ever?
no. We go stay.
But you go the other way.
I go the other
But
way.
your father's
You have
parents
to-
would come.
Because there are mountains, 6 miles, 60 miles. I can't remember. You have to cross mountain in those days, because they had a lot of tunnels, but they didn't have a tunnel at the time, and they have to walk 6 hours an adult feet. Walk.
They walked.
Walk.
They didn't have any train. They didn't have any.
They had a train once you're close, because there's a lot of mountains
Yeah.
in the prefecture where I came
Yeah.
from. And they had tunnels and things, but at that mountain they have tunnels. And so everybody have to walk 6 hours
To get to the train.
to get to the train. So once you come down, me and Akira, we were close, and we went when we visit them, we crossed too,
Going the opposite way.
Yeah, from Kamaishi to
Right.
cross mountain 6 hours. So took us maybe 8 hours. I don't know. Total.
Because it was only 2 hours on the train, but then 6 hours walking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of walk.
So they would come and stay for several months, or a month.
Usually about a couple months or months.
And you don't know anything about their parents.
Oh, I know one thing.
The great-grandparents.
They are my grandparents. Yeah.
These were your
Not-
grandparents that
yeah,
came to visit.
I don't know great.
You don't know the
No.
great-grandparents.
I don't know the mother
Either
side.
side,
either.
nothing.
I don't know.
But more than likely, they were farmers, both sides.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
in
what it
those
was,
days.
right? In those days, you were
That's
farming.
Right. That's right,
Yeah,
farmer.
yeah.
And when kids get to sixth grade, and then it's a smart.
Yeah, smart enough.
Yeah, smart enough because my father gave me, because I'm the first one, gave me some money, and he said when you get to the top of this, they have a tea house. If you're hungry, you go eat. You go down there, and there's a train station called such. I memorized everything. I mean, I didn't write it down.
No, you just went.
Yeah.
There's no danger.
No danger.
Even today, there's no danger.
No.
Yeah.
Very, very safe.
Very safe.
And
So what would happen while your grandparents were
Oh.
staying with you?
I know every night I begged my grandparents, and he's such a sweet guy too.
Is it?
Yeah, because mother side he's quiet.
He was a businessman.
I wouldn't
He's
say
just
he's
quiet.
Quiet, but he opened the mouth, everybody listened.
Listened, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Because that don't happen often, And so this grandparent, he likes to tell us a story, and that was fun. So I couldn't wait, when he's coming over. See,
You'd hear new. Would it be always the same stories or new stories?
some same, some new, but he likes to tell because we are 7 kids.
Right.
So
You have an audience.
yeah. And so he told me, the way he said it's real, so we go, and we really, really enjoyed. So
What kind of stories were these then?
Anecdotes, like a Aesop story kind.
Ah,
Anecdotes. So, and I was very, very curious on everything.
yeah.
And he said, "What story?" So it's the same story, but it's okay. Yeah, and so every time, every night, all kinds of story. So by the time when I went to school, because all these stories are already in the school curriculum,
It was.
It is. It wasn't at the time.
But they were
But
when you got to school.
That's right.
Huh.
And so I already knew the whole thing.
Well, he might have embellished. He might have made them more interesting.
Oh, because I was always curious.
I know, but did he embellish the story? Did he make them more?
No.
He just said it the way.
That embarrassed. Yeah, maybe a little bit, but it's not like a no. But
He didn't change the story.
No. And then I said, he said, if you go to old house, you gotta be careful because there's a little boy sitting in the corner of the house. Then we get scared,
Mhm.
And he goes like this.
Any ghost stories?
Ghost stories.
He would.
And in this story, it was called A Tale of Tono. I like to maybe I want to get that in the English version, because that's a story. By the time I already knew the whole thing.
Right. When you went to school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course I started reading books.
So he obviously read these stories.
He knew from mouth to mouth
Really?
years ago.
Just from mouth to mouth?
Indian, Indian.
Yeah.
Things they all from ancestors.
Right.
Same thing.
So did he ever talk about his earlier family? Not.
We weren't interested in the family.
I know.
No, you don't. Story is interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
So he likes that, because he likes to come to our house.
Oh yeah, he's a showman.
That's right. And the 7 kids.
Yeah, big audience.
Yes.
And some sake too.
I don't think he did. See, kids, people in those days, they don't drink much. My father drank maybe glass of a beer.
Yeah.
And that's enough for him.
Yeah.
And he wasn't too much drinker either. And never smoked.
Now, let's pick some different things. Were either side of those families deeply religious?
in general,
It's
in
more
Japan,
customary than religious
I mean,
per se.
it's not like maybe India, like it's more like, really, unless you're a monk,
Right.
you know.
So no monks.
No, there are the monks, yes.
No, with your family.
No.
So then politics, were they very, very...
My father was in the politics.
So was he very strong, in his views of politics?
The views, my father always never failed and watch news.
Okay.
And always read the book, more, more, what do you call, sage. Sage.
More conservative, more liberal?
No. We're mostly more conservative in Japan. No.
But very socialistic in Japan. Was he socialistic or was he capitalistic? Your father. Your grandfather was a capitalist. He was an ultimate capitalist.
I don't know. He was kind of in the middle, I guess.
All right.
Yeah, but my father wasn't. He loves politics, but.
Was he always supporting the government, or was he always kind of?
It wasn't like.
Wasn't like that.
It wasn't like that. I think he had too many kids, and he was too busy just handling a family, I guess. And but he was the head of the company had maybe 350 or 400
Well, let me ask you that, right? He was in the military, even when he started having the family. But then at some point he left the military.
He left the military. He served in the military. I don't know when during that time they got married. I don't know. I really don't.
You only know him as a working man, though, not as a military man.
No, but we had, no and yes, because he always kept.
He kept his uniform, but he was not active duty.
No, but he always polished his sword.
Oh, he kept it nice. Where's the sword?
I know, everybody, my mother thinks he threw in the ocean.
No.
Yeah, because if they find out...
You were military.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it could have been in jail or maybe...
Well, they might try him on war crimes or who knows. Well, you don't know. It's occupation,
I don't know,
right?
He wasn't really...
He wasn't
in the
frontline fighting.
Fighting, no. He never fought, by the way, thank God. But he was always... he went to China, Manchuria, Mongolia, so that's why he knows about the Russians, how it is. Mm-hmm. And he said they're illiterate.
Well, in the country.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He said it's because huge, Russia is huge.
It's massive, yeah.
And then they always use front line and fight, it's a prisoner.
Yeah, they get rid of the riffraff first, right? Yeah, they do certain things a certain way.
And he said, if they watch, okay?
Yeah.
Nobody look at the watch.
Well, they don't know how to tell time.
He told us how dumb they are.
Don't say dumb. I mean uneducated.
Uneducated.
They didn't have the opportunity for education.
That's right. Because it's too big of a country.
So they were exploited by the powerful.
He said, they go and take a look at this, and if you really see the camera,
Yeah.
They come and they look at it, touch, and
oh, really?
Yeah, that's why she said, "Oh gosh, those Russians." Maybe those who lives in the central area, maybe I'm sure.
Siberia.
Yeah, but those people like
all the cultured and educated were living on the west side, right next to Europe.
That's right.
Yeah. So if you're out in the west side, or the east side, you're in the wild east. I mean, you're in the
Yeah, but he told me that when he was in China, and you go to restaurant, and when you go to bathroom,
yeah.
You kind of look at the kitchen. He said you wouldn't eat, I wouldn't eat, because they said they don't even clean. Because Chinese eat a lot of pork.
Yeah.
Okay. So they throw everything in a big
pot,
and like a ferry and everything, And he said, when you look at this, you just lose appetite. You don't want to eat.
But again, you're talking out in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my father writes beautifully. Yeah.
Calligraphy, kind of.
I wish I kept his letters. And I really, think to myself, I wish I kept the,
So
letter.
what did he do for a living that you remember?
Huh?
What did he do for a living?
What do you mean? He was a boss for the, they have, because of the security section.
So with his military background, he went into kind of security work with companies?
Yeah, but he was a top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he had to work his way up, probably.
Oh, yeah.
But he was involved with security.
Yeah, I guess it's because he was in the military.
Military background, yeah.
I think so. But I remember in the one of the top 5, in a company in there, he's a graduate of U of M.
Oh.
I learned that. So he was the only one in a company who spoke English.
So he came to the U.S. for his college education?
Yeah, college education. He had education that time.
The big boss.
Yeah, not the big boss, not the president.
Ah,
But he was one of the top 5.
right.
And he's graduate of U of M.
Wow.
That's how I remember U of M.
Michigan Dainaku.
Michigan, yeah. And so Michigan, name of Michigan was so familiar to me because of that. Because whenever company have like a big meetings and things, my father always attend too,
Sure.
from every section.
Well, all right. So he was in security and he retired. I mean, I only remember him as
Yeah,
an
because
old retired guy, right?
Yeah,
Raising
yeah.
quails
Yeah,
and getting quail eggs and
Yeah.
making tamago to put on rice and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, but he was having pension and stuff.
Yeah, but I didn't really. I mean, I couldn't communicate with him. We didn't
no.
play. We didn't do anything.
That's right. But
Yeah.
you remember?
I remember.
remember very clearly.
I remember him.
And he
So how did you live when you were growing up? Was it kind of a middle class or upper
yeah,
middle?
I would say we're middle class, but my mother, when my mother married my father, their wedding gift was a house.
Was the house
Was a house we could live?
not the same house I remember?
No,
Because that was probably destroyed or something.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
it was destroyed.
But
So-
so when that happens, do you still have the title to the land? Is the land still yours?
I think he sold because when Japan declared the
Surrender?
surrender, okay, right away the military came and landed. Even Kamashi, we had a lot of military,
U.S. military.
U.S. military
Landed.
and government froze the bank for 2 years.
Wow.
So they have to. If people, went to try to.
Well, they'd
get
run.
money-
They'd run. It'd be a bank run. Everyone would run for their money.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So, that's the smartest thing they did. They froze. So, everybody were poor.
Everyone.
Every one of them.
Except for your grandparents who hid gold and silver in the ground.
So, I'm not from a poor family. And,
But everyone started over.
started over. But the 2 years, they can only get so much dollar.
Yeah.
Yen.
Dollars or yen?
Yen.
Right. Yeah.
Because even the rich, you can't.
Yeah.
you
What did the
can
rich? Well, the rich probably had some assets
Oh.
overseas.
No, that too. But those noble people.
Yes.
Okay. What they did, is they really, rented to American generals.
High ranking officials for
Because the
money.
house is like a mansion.
Yes.
Okay.
So they rented those.
But we don't think it's rented. They got the rental money. No, they took it. American, because
Occupation.
they took it. So I don't think they got what they did because they had all the priceless treasures in the house.
Yes.
They sold so cheap, and they sold clothes, and sometimes they make negotiation. and they can live in 1/3 of a portion
Sure.
of a house.
Even
And
while they're occupied.
That's right.
So they'd have to live with the enemy.
That's right. Yeah.
But at that point, was it really,
Because
was it considered the enemy? Or, how was it?
Yeah, Japanese are honey. We never really hated America. I mean,
And
it's
yet,
a real.
and yet, if they had invaded, there would every person would have fought to the death.
Oh, that's right. I
So-
was too.
Right. So
Yeah.
how do you mix those two together? You were willing to fight to the death.
You know what the good about the Japanese, I think, is very flexible. All right, they are now we can fight until death. It's stupid, but they know that Japanese would do that.
Yes, they knew it.
Pretty historically.
It's historical,
That's
yeah.
right. All right. So what they did is they put it not really restricted us. There's certain things that they had give us a freedom, and suddenly, within a few months, because we have nothing to eat really.
Right.
All right. A lot of people in the newspaper.
So was the U.S. bringing in food or
surplus? Because the U.S. is a big country.
Yeah.
Surplus food
Was
that
coming.
left, so they, give us surplus stuff. So periodically we have to run to store because the news goes around.
would tell? But then, did you have to purchase it, or was it just provided?
Oh no, provided.
It was just provided.
Yeah,
right?
that was surplus.
That was part of the
yes.
Marshall Plan.
Marshall
or whatever.
Plan. And so I know I can tell all this, but I used to stand on
Yeah.
the line.
And this is where your father would have said the Russians would have never done something like
That's
that.
right. Oh, he hated the Russians. He said Russia never ever trust. And we are fighting with America, He didn't say anything about America.
He never said anything about America.
No.
But he said, "Don't trust the
Don't
Russians."
trust,
That's
never.
that's amazing to me.
But after that I found out my father left secretly to my mother poison,
Cyanide,
cyanide,
just in case.
just in case. He said if somebody got raped or something happened, 'cause that happens, during because
So
he
it's
was
war,
in the military, and kill ourselves, whole family.
Wow.
Because that's how mentally we are supposed to do that.
Right.
We had no fear.
No, I did not know that, but
Oh.
I can understand it. Yeah.
Yeah, and he gave cyanide to mother to hide somewhere. In case that happens, it's a shame, okay, family shame. So the whole family gonna kill ourselves. Well, that's how it was. That was a custom.
Yeah.
So
But was
we
it a big?
followed.
Was that a big problem?
No.
It wasn't.
Oh, there was. It wasn't a newspaper because there was some restrictions. You can, there are a lot of, soldiers, young soldiers, and a lot of cases, people talk, behind the door,
Mhm.
things. So we know, but nobody says anything.
Yeah. You just keep quiet.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it happens in any country, and so we never let the young girl out in the dark.
Or alone. Always 2 by 2 or something, right? With a brother or sister. Some.
Yeah.
Never go alone.
Never go alone.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty normal.
But because Americans are really friendly, even though they're in occupation, I couldn't believe it. They said chewing gum. They said hi. To give this, and so the kids, they just go and get it because anything you can eat.
You didn't eat chewing gum, but candy bar would be nice.
Candy bar. Well, yeah, but the chewing gum, they know they can't swallow. We're not dumb. And but my father told us, the family, he said if they throw stuff to the ground,
Don't pick it up.
don't pick it up. That's
It's
an
kind of
insult.
a shameful.
Yeah, shame. Don't do not that. So we didn't. We never did. If it's a handed, yes.
So the military occupation, where you had a lot of soldiers
Yeah.
in force, that
It
started.
was a fun kind of.
Yeah, no, but that started reducing over time, right?
Oh yes.
So by the time the 1950s,
Because the Korean War.
yeah, they left, right?
That's right.
And it was pretty much,
They occupied in mostly Japanese inns,
Yeah.
hotel.
okay.
Yeah, those guys, because, I think mostly hotel, Japanese hotels.
Right.
So they have 40, 50 rooms,
Right.
Yeah, that's how they
Yep.
did it. And, but, because of kids, we're kids, so we really actually enjoyed because every Friday they like to have a party. Americans,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
No matter where they go, they gotta have a party. So it's a nice music we never heard before.
Big band music and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Then all is like a militarist, kind of.
Martial music.
Yeah, or German, Italy, because we were allied. Okay. Yeah. But music. So because we were from here to high school. So music, when music going, we can't hear.
Right.
So we said, "Hey, let's go." So we were kids. All kids went, we just sit there and watch like this. Oh, they're pretty girls, and all these Japanese dancers. They're real tall. I said, "How come they're so tall? That we're so little?" And then, of course, soldiers. They are very gentlemanlike. I think that's how they military trained them.
Oh, yeah.
In other countries.
Yes.
And so I said, "Oh, it's nice. Wow, they opened the door for ladies, I mean, you notice these things.
Oh, yeah.
In Japan, there's guys are always like this, The women are like following.
Yes. 2 steps behind.
Yeah, my mother was.
Always.
Never worked together.
2 steps behind.
Yeah, behind.
Yeah.
That's how it was.
Yeah.
And,
Well, plus your dad was military.
Oh, of course, he's military, see. Yeah. And so it's not...
So I remember you telling stories too as a kid in school where, fighter planes were coming in,
oh, God, yes.
strafing the school, and kids running in all directions,
Yeah.
dodging bullets. No one
I
ever got hit.
No, not a one.
Where was this happening?
I was in this girls' school.
Near Tokyo or
No, up north.
up north?
Yeah.
In the Pittsburgh Iron Works place.
Yeah.
And they were shooting there because of the iron industry.
That's
why
right.
it was a target.
That's right.
I see. Yeah.
And my uncle, who was in the mountain at the time, he saw 12 all ships lined out straight in the bay.
Yeah.
So far, And then the plane were coming and kind of give a signal. This is where you should shoot the bomb. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. So they go like this.
Mhm.
So he knew. Well, then some ships shoot, because iron, and they produce best iron in Japan at the time.
Is it still an iron?
They say the quality of iron in the Iwate prefecture, where I was born, is the best.
But is it still steel manufacturing area today?
They still manufacture.
They do.
It's much in a smaller scale.
Yeah.
During the wartime,
It was
that's
huge.
24 hours.
Shipbuildings and everything. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they use the Yamato and the 2 giant ship,
Right.
50,000, 60,000 ton.
Yeah.
They used iron from Kamaishi.
Iwate. Yeah.
Yeah, because they produce the best
Right.
iron.
Okay. I'm probably gonna have to stop here, Mom. I gotta get
Yeah,
going.
yeah, I know. But I think of my grandparents especially.
The most.
Now every day.
Your mother's side, mostly.
Both sides.
Both sides.
Yeah, and both sides I like it because of the way he talked the story.
Mhm.
Then we go, what's next? Scary, and some spooky stories. And then a little boy, 5-year-old, sit at the corner of a dark room. I said, you get the chill,
Yeah.
And smiling. You could, if you visit, go to old farmhouse, you might see this little boy,
Like a ghost?
Yeah, like a ghost. Even I'm talking, I'm gonna get shot. So we go to the dark room, especially, go see, if anybody was there. Yeah, we used to do that.
Wow.
But I had a really nice, really childhood. But
well, next time I want to talk more about that, your childhood, your brothers and sisters, and everything, as another
yeah,
talk.
and the mother side, because they had a lot of lot, on the mountainside, they made a little tunnel so we can evacuate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So every time we hear siren,
you go
we
go
run
for the tunnel
into this one.
Yeah.
Then they keep, first aid stuff and some food,
some provisions.
Yeah, and in there they have a little shelf. That's where they keep.
Like
food.
A bomb shelter.
Bomb shelter.
It was
It's
like
a shelter.
tunnel into the mountain, or a tunnel.
No. It's not a tunnel. It's like maybe from half of this size.
Yeah.
So the family.
How did you get to it? Was it underground or was it?
No, kind of next to building, kind of next, but it's mountain.
Protected.
Yeah.
So it was kind of embedded into the mountain.
Yeah, into mountain.
Yeah. Okay.
So we have more,
Protection.
So I saw so many dead people, and but I never talked because why should I?
What are you going to
really?
say? Yeah, it's war, right?
Yeah, so it's a war, So I can relate when I see like a boat people from Vietnam and those. I can see that because I was one of them too, sort of. Yeah.
Well, you were living in a country that was just completely destroyed, right? An economy that was destroyed. Whole infrastructure was destroyed.
They recovered in 10 years.
Yeah.
And
Well, a lot of that was, the Americans.
I think, but the Japan lost the war. But I think it's now you think about it, it was better.
It was.
What you gonna do if Japan win? They have to send the military to.
Everywhere.
Everywhere
it's
in
bankrupting
the
United States, right? I mean, so you cannot hold an empire. The British tried it. The Romans tried it.
This Admiral Yamamoto, who was shot to kill, but he knew because he was in Washington.
Yeah.
He was attaché, military attaché in Washington D.C. So he knew. He speaks English and he knows. He knew that was the only way to attack. But if they had gasoline, Japan could have, because Roosevelt and Churchill, they even offered like a peace treaty and stuff. Because I read the book about this thing, about all this secret thing at the time, but they disclosed during the war times. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to stop there.
Okay. Oh, you would